Hello, you are listening to the Lemon Drop Sessions. I am here with the band Cerulean Sunday, the dynamic duo of the singer-songwriter Emma Converse and what I assume is the multi-instrumentalist Mark Lamore. It's the Lemon Drop Sessions. The band Cerulean Sunday is here to talk about their Christmas album, Christmas EP, if you will, Cerulean Christmas. People, I have no reason to lie to you. This album works, okay? It just works. This album doesn't need to explain itself, but since I am a podcaster, I've invited these two up and coming musicians to come on and explain the album. Emma Converse, Mark Lamore, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure.
Right on. Okay, so I really did listen to this album. I'm gonna run through the track listing as I saw on SoundCloud. And I did notice that you guys picked a different arrangement. You picked a different track listing on SoundCloud than for Spotify. Am I right?
Not intentionally.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
I think I tried to
I'm not knocking it. I just yeah.
well, it was a mistake. If
Well,
it did happen, it was a
Spotify doesn't always cooperate with me, so I wonder what the deal is. But
have to check
should
that
start
Yeah.
with Santa Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the SoundCloud one, which that is how I heard the album, and I kind of I did actually kind of assume that this was the the arrangement you wanted. It goes Santa Baby, the Christmas song, Let It Snow, Walking in the Air, Oh Holy Night, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, six songs, 2 or 3 minutes each. Man, what a nice listen, to be honest. It did get me into the Christmas spirit, to be honest. Um,
Good.
So you guys, this podcast is set in Connecticut. We do try and do that little disclaimer. And I was surprised to hear that you guys are actually in St. Petersburg, Florida. Um, yeah, it's let's do it. Let's get into it. Did you guys grow up there? Did you move, or how did it happen?
So yeah, so I grew up in Connecticut my whole life. I just moved
Right.
here a year ago. Um
Mhm.
and I used to do gigs and stuff like that in Connecticut, and I've worked on a couple people's albums and stuff like that. And I moved here,
Yeah.
and I was just on Facebook looking for people to play with, and Mark here hit me up and was like, "Do you want to play?" And I was like, "Yep." so
Yeah.
so that's how
Great.
that happened.
Yeah. And I was born in Alabama and lived in the
Wow.
South all my life until about 6 years ago when I moved to Seattle. And then I lived in Wyoming for a short time, which was amazing. I missed both of those places a lot.
Wow.
Then I moved back
Wow.
to Seattle, and then earlier this year, life changes came upon me, and I decided to
Sure.
move to
Sure.
Florida.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because just before the pandemic hit, for whatever reason, I couldn't stop thinking about Wyoming, you know? I was
Mm.
literally like I would sort of like um I don't know, I literally saw Wyoming on the back of a quarter or whatever, and I was just like, yeah, what about Wyoming? And actually, as a joke on my personal Instagram handle, I started following a bunch of businesses from Wyoming, and we were going to maybe do something for that with the podcast. So we do invite musicians who come on and have a good time to come on back. So Mark, maybe with your help, we can profile some Wyoming hotspots, some eateries.
Oh man,
Um,
yeah. I lived
that'd be
in
great.
Cody, which was a really awesome place. And
Well, oh wow, what's it called?
Cody,
It's
C
just Cody.
yeah,
Is
Cody, Cody, Wyoming. It's
oh okay.
named after Buffalo Bill Cody.
Oh
And
wow.
um let's see, it's at the east entrance, or not too far from the east entrance of Yellowstone. And I mean, it's a gorgeous place. I loved it there.
Wow.
That's all I'll
Wow.
say about it for now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's It's tough to choose, honestly, because I really am meeting you guys for the first time in this way, and there's a lot of options. I know Mark went on tour. Emma, you have this SoundCloud like packed with cool cover songs. And then there's the making of this little Christmas album itself, which must have been a real plan by you guys. And also, it's the Lemon Drop sessions. We try to mix music with food and an interesting genre film. We're trying for this to be our Christmas special episode. Obviously, it is the Christmas album, and I've got some very what is that holiday movie with like, yeah, I've got like a National Lampoon's Vacation vibe with my Christmas lights in the background.
Cool.
They really might set fire at any moment. So try to keep this relatively short, I guess. But, let's start. It's a tough call, but I am actually curious. I was thinking since it's the holidays, maybe we should pick a fantasy movie. It didn't necessarily have to be Christmas. Did you guys pick a movie, or did you flake out on me? 'Cause I don't understand.
No, we just started talking about it before the session, and I don't know that we have a combined favorite holiday movie or favorite fantasy movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But we did agree kind of on the Home Alone for a Christmas movie
Oh, yeah.
is
That
really good.
that does
Yeah.
it technically ties into our rules for genre films because it's basically action, adventure, sci-fi, or fantasy. Uh, and we kind of mutually agreed, myself and my co-host Jeff, who is literally working in the restaurant industry right now at this very moment. But we agreed that you don't need much action technically to have an action film. Like in our mind, Reservoir Dogs is an action film.
Oh,
There's
yes.
just there's one gun scene, and that's all you need.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
and Home Alone, I mean, man, that kid had some weapons, am I right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, big
So
time.
I'm gonna say for our purposes here that Home Alone is an action film. Um,
Yep.
and we don't have to spend too long on that. But what did you guys talk about when you were going? I guess we'll do Home Alone.
Well, we were talking about how we don't really watch a lot of Christmas movies in general. I don't know.
Well, I have in the past, but this year is really
Right.
different for me. My life is quite different from the way it's been the last 10 or 20 years, I guess. And so
Go on.
I haven't been watching any Christmas films. I've just been focusing on work and whatever.
Yes. Yeah. Very true. I mean, admittedly, aren't we all? Yeah, it's a very work-oriented decade, it seems to be. I have talked about that with people my age for sure, for sure. Um, and actually, so with creative works, right? I mean, what you choose to do is more precious, and much like Home Alone, it's not like they decided to make that movie like a week before Christmas, like they had a plan, and then it was released on around Christmas or something like that. So, I mean, really, I am interested, and I was telling these two before we started the show that recently I've had the experience of making my own holiday special for Halloween, and we still have still have extra stuff from Halloween that we have yet to release, you know what I mean? So, um, it's actually more, I think for some listeners who haven't tried it yet, it is way more artistic than you might imagine to make a holiday based album, and certainly that's the case with this album, Cerulean Christmas. I mean, there are some songs that I just really really enjoyed, um and
Good. I'm so
Thanks.
glad.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So I mean, how did you guys decide to do this, you know? Because honestly, like it must have been at least October, right? That you or did you put this together in a day? Like what
Yeah,
happened?
I think it was like late September,
Yeah.
mid-September or something like that. We got together. We weren't even talking about Christmas. We were just talking about getting together to work on some stuff for gigs, work on a few new cover tunes or whatever. And Emma was like, I want to do a Christmas album. I've never done one.
Wow.
I really want to do one.
I've
And
always wanted to do one.
yeah, and I was like, well, hey, that's a great
All
idea. It's
right, all
good
right.
timing because like you said,
Yeah.
you want to work on it early. And
Oh,
so
wow. Wow.
we started it in early October. I think we took a couple of weeks and just kind of batted back and forth some tune ideas.
Right. Right.
And I think it was it well the process was very simple. It was like, what does Emma want to do? And what can Mark like
Do after
put in
that.
put in a good light, you know? Because
Yeah.
I ended up
Yeah.
doing the arranging and production for
Yeah.
everything. And then Emma came in and added her wonderful vocals to the mix, you know.
Yes,
And
definitely.
there's a lot
Yes.
of back and forth too. She would add some vocals and then I would go back and start working on the tune in a completely different direction or something like that.
Yes.
He came up with some really creative things throughout the process. That was just so cool to see it go from like just a
Yeah.
piano track and then adding drums. And then did the harmonies for Santa Baby and everything. And oh my God, I heard that track. I was like, this is the
Yes.
best thing
Yes.
ever. I love that song. And it just really
Totally.
hit
Yeah.
it.
There were some
I
bad takes on things. Like
oh yeah.
I sent
That's
her
fun.
some stuff and I was like, hey, here you go. And she didn't say anything. And
Yeah,
I'm grateful that she
sometimes
didn't, you
silence
know.
really does. Sometimes it really is the trick, right? I mean, but please go on. Please go on. I'm
Well,
sorry.
I mean, basically it was like I would work on something and mold it, and then I would send it to her, and then I would go back the next day and be like, no, this needs to be
Right.
something else. It needs more or some whatever. And that's a compulsion that I have that I am really trying to fight. But I
Hmm.
I always end up with something better, you know, when I
Hmm.
do that. So I don't know what to do about that.
I've actually seen I have a friend of mine, the singer-songwriter known as Milestone. You can find him on Instagram at Must Be Music. There'll be a little handle, I guess, uh, below your guys' handles, by the way, because we're featuring Cerulean Sunday today. That being said, yeah, my buddy Milestone, he's sort of chipping away, really recording some brand new stuff. I've basically over the course of making this podcast, I've been seeing him make, you know, song after song, and he does the exact same thing, Mark. He sort of like, you know, goes over the song, you know, says it's missing something. I disagree immediately. You know, it's like, you know, like often I have to say, like sometimes when he's on his like second or third pass, I am like begging that dude to stop, you know, and then yeah, exactly like you're saying, he's just you know, does some update and yes, it is often better. It's true, you know,
Mm.
and sometimes I'm really not expecting that. So Emma, it's true, you have a great voice. Really doesn't happen by accident. Can you sort of explain your process of getting there and staying there, you know, over all these years?
Um, I mean, I've been singing since I could talk, so it's more than anything, it's just a gift that I was given to this life, I guess. But yeah, no, I was younger. My mom always played music for me. So, you know, even before I was born, she would play music and,
Wow.
you know,
Wow.
really just, yeah. And
Wow.
when I was born, when I was a kid, we would go every week, we would go to the library and pick out a bunch of
Oh,
tapes and
wow.
like kids tapes, you know, and she would come home, she'd bring them all home and she would pre-screen them to make sure that they were something that she could handle listening to over and over and over again, because she knew that I would like obsess about something.
Wow.
So she so we would listen to like Raffi and stuff, like, like all
Oh
those
yeah.
old kids stuff. And then as I got older, she taught me how to harmonize, and we would
Wow.
always be harmonizing together. We did rounds together, like how do you explain what a round is? Do you know what I'm talking about? When there's
I
like
wish
it's
I
a
did.
short, so it's basically a short melody that
Short melody.
I
Yeah.
would sing, and then someone would piggyback on. So I would sing
row
it.
your boat is a common
Exactly,
one.
exactly. So you
Oh,
kind
okay.
of just one person comes in a little later. I forgot about row.
Right.
I was at a
Okay,
friend's
so
house last
I
night, and I
do
was
actually
trying to
get it.
teach her this. Yeah.
I think I get it. So row, row, row your boat is around. And from
Yes.
there I can go down that rabbit hole whenever I want, right?
Well, you would just continue singing that song, and then
Whoa.
someone else would sing it on top of you, but with like a
Oh,
different, coming in at a different time. So,
Frere Jacques is another one.
yep.
wow. I do actually get that. Pere
Yeah.
Jacques? Pere
Frère
Jacques?
Jacques, Frère
Oh
Jacques,
yeah.
dormez-vous, dormez-vous. Exactly. So that's
Wow.
how, yeah.
Oh, that was
Um,
Nailed it.
yeah.
so yeah, no, that's kind of my, and then, I mean, my parents would play a lot of, uh, my dad would always put on, that guy on the radio. I don't know. I don't know if it's like
Hmm.
national or just in our area in Connecticut, but
Yeah.
That guy on the radio.
he would do
So
jazz.
what
He would
radio
do
station
jazz.
you would do
I don't
jazz?
remember the radio
Yeah.
station, but he would have jazz on like weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. And
Yeah, I mean